Hey everyone, it's Jonathan and welcome back to Wonderland Wednesday. Today I'm joined by Jenna and Sarah as we finish up our three-part miniseries on some early 1950s TV specials based around Walt Disney's Alice in Wonderland. Today we're looking at a special episode of The Fred Waring Show, a musical variety show hosted by musician Fred Waring, and from what little I've now seen of it, I kind of get a Lawrence Welk vibe from it, so that probably gives you an idea of the kind of program it was. In 1951, Disney lent a bunch of talent to the show, including Mary Blair, Catherine Beaumont, and Sterling Holloway, plus all the music from the then upcoming Alice in Wonderland, so that they could put together a musical preview of the movie, complete with sets designed by Mary Blair and performances by Catherine, Sterling, and Fred Waring's choral group, the Pennsylvanians.
Somewhere in a sunny afternoon.
I don't think we'll have too much trouble not talking about delicious beverages with today's sponsor, because today's sponsor is just General Electric.
To keep your
We could
Coke
talk
cool.
about refrigerators.
Yes, that keep your leftover pizza and your Coca-Cola nice and crusty
Where
cold.
else am
So
I going to pull my nice cold beverage out of besides my General Electric refrigerator?
at 4 a.m. when you found again that you can't sleep, you know where to go to your General Electric refrigerator.
But General Electric has a very long history with Disney. Most famously, the Carousel of Progress at Disneyland and later Walt Disney World. And I think this is like a great program. It's actually my favorite of the three.
I can understand that.
Yeah, that's why I saved it for last. It was mine as well.
I think it's so charming, and even if if you're a listener and you don't have any interest in watching promotional stuff, I would say check this one out because it does go kind of like beyond. It's more like charming.
I think it's more focused on the movie and the story. Yeah, the story itself. Yeah. So if you're just a fan of even just the Disney one and you want to see Sterling Holloway and stuff, and honestly, I don't want to jump ahead too far, but that one musical number that they did with the choir from Alice, so good.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The Fred Waring Choir, it's really good. They're all really talented. And I didn't know this, but they apparently released a record of them singing the Alice soundtrack. It's really rare.
Ooh.
Well, he talked in the special about recording a record.
Yeah, and the first time I watched this, I didn't realize he meant literally. It seems kind of strange, though, right? Like, you're not part of the movie, but you're going to record a record.
It probably seems strange now, but I would guess that maybe it was a little more common back then, especially for somebody like him to release something like that. I don't know. Like, I'm not extremely familiar with this kind of thing, but I would assume that since you can't buy a VHS tape or a DVD at that time, a record would be the main way you could have a piece of your movie memory.
Yeah, I actually don't know when the first like actual Disney Alice soundtrack came out. I have one, like I have a vinyl of it, but it's a modern one. I know they did like see and read and listen stuff later.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know when that first would have been, which is funny because ironically, I went through a period trying to collect Disney Alice records, and now I've forgotten everything because I have a couple things, but I haven't found the Fred Waring Choir record. I would love to have that. Definitely would be a prized possession.
Well, not that it's the same thing, but I think it's on YouTube.
I think it is. I just want the physical record because I like having. It's weird. I'm not really an audiophile person, but I really love the sound of like vinyl records being played with a record player in person. And there's something about watching it turn. So it's like I want to collect interesting vinyls, and that's one of them. I would like this one a lot. And it has a cool cover too, from what I've seen. Anyway, so neat piece of history. If you ever catch your hands on one, is actually probably valuable, and a lot of people don't know about it.
Kind of specialized information. Yeah.
And I think this was another big deal about going back to the program itself. This is the premiere of the soundtrack, so it would have been like it's kind of nuts, really, because we're so used to the Disney Alice soundtrack now. But this would have been the first time anyone heard anything of it.
I didn't even think about that when I was watching it, but you're right.
Yeah. And they really like focus on the soundtrack, obviously.
Yeah.
Well, I think like with the was there a little bit of musicality, wasn't there, with the, or was it
Well, I think they had
maybe
the
not?
unbirthday song.
But it wasn't, just maybe smaller bits that weren't as well. Yeah, they had part of the song with the flowers, didn't they? And the other one
Did they
too.
have a song?
I think so, but this
Well,
was
I think
this
they
was
did in Operation Wonderland. I think they had part of the flower song. I don't know if they played the entire thing.
but this one had like, I don't remember them showing is it A World of My Own, like playing that in these other ones, which is such a wonderful song.
Hmm.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the choir version of In a World of My Own at the end of this production.
Yes,
It's beautiful.
I loved that. I love choir music anyway, and that's,
Yeah.
yeah.
But, already kind of skipping to the end, but bouncing off that, I really love how Alice is almost like a mythological creature in this. She must be summoned by theme song. Um, her her role in her spiritual endeavors is to look curious at things, and equally as mythological, she must go when she is wondering and sent off with another theme song. So I don't know. I just enjoy how Alice is depicted here. I think it's really interesting. Like, I don't know. I just enjoy. Oh, we can't find it. Oh, I can find her. Alice. I just think it's magical. I will say Catherine Beaumont was not having a good day with her voice.
You could really tell in the I Give
Yeah,
Myself Very Good Advice song.
yeah, she struggled during that. I think she just got over a cold or something, or she lost, lost her voice or something.
Hmm.
And I think it's the cold though. But she does really, really well regardless. She just acts like that's not. She's a professional. She acts like it's not a problem. Her voice is
Hmm.
fine, which is good, obviously.
I think if I had not known in advance, because like I don't know if we talked about it in an episode or not, but I knew from talking to you that she had a cold in this special.
Yeah.
So I was listening for it, but I only really, really noticed it in the I Give Myself Very Good Advice song. And I think if I hadn't known that, I think I would have chalked it up to it being an old television program and audio quality wasn't that great. Because
Mm.
other than the sound of her voice, she gave no indication that she was not feeling well.
It's actually like really impressive for a child actress
Yeah.
to trudge on like this. Like, the show must go on.
Hmm.
I'm going to act like I do have my voice. And yeah, she does a great job. I love her in this special, and just like lacking how much we have of the live action reference. I love this special in the context of being able to see her act out her Alice,
Hmm.
especially like with our other guest stars, Sterling Holloway as a Cheshire Cat. I
Hmm.
love how they interact with each other, and they actually have chemistry, and that I think we don't get in the film because they didn't record together.
Hmm.
I don't know. I think it's really fun. If you like the Disney Alice, definitely check this out. And Sterling Holloway is having a great time. He's having a ball. I don't know. He just is having a lot of fun, and it's fun to watch him. He's wearing a stupid bow tie and a stupid animal hood, cat hood. Not the best costume, but he doesn't let it drag him down.
He seemed to be a totally good sport about it. Maybe he's
Yeah,
one of those people that doesn't care,
yeah.
because some people are just fabulous at being silly. And
Yeah,
I've
he's like,
never
I've been the
been,
frog footman in the 1933 Alice. No one knew it was me. I'm okay with this.
he was in a 1933,
Oh yeah, he was in
Yeah.
1933 as the frog footman. You can't even tell it's him because
was
his whole face is covered.
was that the same one as Cary Grant?
Yeah.
Being,
Yeah,
oh, I forgot. Okay.
like I said, you can't tell it's him. He doesn't even sound like himself. It's really weird.
Hmm.
It's like, are you sure that Sterling Holloway is in that? I don't know if maybe that I'm not a big Sterling Holloway like career guy. Like I don't follow his career, so I don't know if like because it doesn't even sound like him to me in that one. So I don't know if he ended up like emphasizing, more of a different tone later with his voice. But yeah, he doesn't. You can't even tell it's him. He's like, as long as I don't have to wear a full frontal mask, I'm okay with it. So I really enjoy Sterling and Catherine in this special, or as Fred Waring would say, Alice and Sterling. And I choose to believe that means the canon name of the cat is Sterling. I'm kidding. um, no, but it's I think they both do great jobs in this.
Yeah. No, it's fun to see him because you don't get a whole lot of the Cheshire Cat usually in in good ones, I think. Like I always feel like that you don't get enough Cheshire Cat when I really like him, and then when I don't
Yeah.
like him, you get too much. But I really like he's one of the few Cheshire Cats that I really, really like. So it was nice to see him again, like actually being the Cheshire Cat, not just animated.
I think another thing about Sterling Holloway, I really enjoy this performance because I have a gripe about, sorry, a little bit of a gripe about how Jim Cummings portrays Winnie the Pooh and Cheshire Cat, all of his Sterling Holloway impressions, because he makes them all sound the same. Yeah, he's even said in interviews that, like he just kind of, oh, that will just sound like Pooh or something. And it's like, no, Sterling Holloway played his characters very differently. And I feel like you really see that in here where he's acting out the cat, who is kind of a mischievous, mysterious figure who you can't really tell if he's going to help you or not. And he's kind of in it for his own fun. And I feel like you really see that in this. That there's a characterization behind the voice as well. So anyway,
Mhm.
that's a little bit of my gripe. Most people don't agree with me. That's fine. Um,
So you're basically saying that he didn't sound like Winnie the Pooh across the board.
Yeah, I mean, Sterling Holloway was an actor. He did all of his characters and voice acting roles were different in subtle ways. Like, yeah, he had a voice. People liked him for the voice, but he didn't just do the same voice every time. And I feel like you really notice that here when you'd see his body language along with it and his facial expressions.
When I'm watching Cheshire Cat, I don't know if I've ever thought of Winnie the Pooh while watching him, like his take on the Cheshire Cat.
Some people do just interchangeably think the characters are interchangeable. It's very bizarre to me. Like,
Okay.
yeah,
I can see
I don't
why
know.
they think that, but I
Yeah.
I guess I do agree that Jim Cummings doesn't do enough to fully differentiate them, but I also think he does a pretty good job. Like he obviously
Oh,
is not Sterling Holloway,
don't
but
get me wrong, he's a great voice actor and I enjoy his work.
yeah.
I just think he misses the mark a lot on these roles. He did a lot better in the Christopher Robin movie, ironically, because I always felt like his Winnie the Pooh misses the warmth and depth that Sterling had. And I think the director got on him a bit more to try to do that
Mm,
in that one. But yeah, just he has a Sterling Holloway impression essentially that he uses for different characters.
yeah.
And some people say that that is Sterling Holloway just did his voice, which is weird. I don't know why people do that to say that, but it's a thing I have seen people argue. It's like I don't understand why you're arguing that. It's such a weird thing. Anyway, this is just me loving on Sterling Holloway, saying that his body and face work is good in this too.
Yeah.
Should we talk about the dormouse?
She was special. I like the part where it's obvious that she was meant to pop up from the table, but someone didn't realize that someone accidentally put a jug in the way and she had to move it. That was funny.
Was that on purpose or was that an ad lib?
I think that was an ad lib because I think it's a blooper because I'm pretty sure this was performed live.
Okay, I like the scene even better now.
Yeah,
That's actually pretty great. If somebody did that, if that was an accident and she just went with it, I like
he
that.
played it off very well. There's also another blooper that I only realized during this last walkthrough. At some point, I forget. I think it's during In a World of My Own. It's not, the choir's around the table, and a lot of the women singers aren't specific characters, but they're in like top hats as kind of mad hattresses, I guess.
Hmm.
Um, and when you watch in the wide shot, you could see they're about to come to the part of the song where only the women are going to sing, and they kind of all gather together behind where the dormouse is, and they're looking towards a vocal point, which you would assume a camera, but the next shot shows a close up of the dormouse singing, and I think that's another blooper. I think that it was supposed to go to a camera showing all of them, but it didn't. So I don't know. That's why I think this is live, and plus that was normal for the time for productions to be live.
Yeah. Well, when you said in the last one about Walt wanting it to not be live to make it seem more
Yeah,
professional, I immediately was thinking of this one because it was not quite as professional.
yeah. But I mean, when you consider that it's live, it's very well done, actually.
Yes, yeah. I mean, I've
Yeah,
seen a lot worse than this. I was just
yeah,
thinking of the things that were not quite perfect.
yeah. I think another interesting thing in this is that I feel like the costumes are very like generic Alice than specifically Disney Alice,
Hmm.
which makes sense because they probably wouldn't have wanted to make a whole wardrobe.
Yeah.
But you see a lot of characters that aren't in the movie.
I noticed that too, yeah.
Yeah,
I was wondering if maybe it was just the Fred Waring show, just looking at the book and coming up with stuff based on the book because they wouldn't have the full idea of what the movie is going to be. And obviously, the Duchess and the Cook are like iconic Alice characters. It just so happens that Disney did not end up using them. So
yeah.
it was interesting that they were in this, and this is promoting the Disney version, but they're not in the Disney version.
I think it's also a mix of they didn't know. So like even though it's premiere of the soundtrack, it's actually we know having seen the movie, it's not the full soundtrack. There are songs that are not represented,
Yeah.
and I think they use the jazz version of Jabberwocky quite a lot in this. So I don't think they were full like I don't think the Fred Waring show was fully aware of what was actually in the movie or not. They were just kind of going off what Disney gave them.
Was Jabberwocky at one point supposed to be a jazz number in the Disney version?
Oh yeah, I was. Sorry.
Oh, okay. Because I just
Yeah,
assumed that they were just putting their own little spin on it.
no. There was supposed to be a whole Jabberwocky sequence, and that's essentially they wanted the poem put to music. So they had a few different versions. The final was this kind of like jazz version, but it wasn't fitting into the pace of the story, so they took it out. But they still wanted the poem, so they gave it to the Cheshire Cat, and that's why he
Mm,
has that bit, which
yeah.
you do see in this, but they really emphasized the Jabberwocky jazz tune. And I think the Fred Waring show like got like this, they got the music and they were like, oh, the Jabberwocky's probably going to be in it, so we're going to have a Jabberwocky character and the Beamish boy
Hmm.
uh to slay him. It's none that doesn't happen in the Disney Alice. I think what's also curious in this, which you don't see in a lot of Alice's that are actually trying to adapt the story, is they have three queens: the Queen of Hearts, the White Queen, and the Red Queen, which is pretty funny.
I don't think I even noticed the queens. I
Yeah,
mean,
at
I
one
noticed
point,
a queen, but I didn't notice there was more than one. There was a lot of background characters, so wasn't picking them all out.
yeah, at one point the Red and White Queen are like leaning against each other sleeping,
Oh,
and
okay.
one of them would bop their head up to say a line, the other one would do it the next line, and Alice goes between the two. And I think it's a reference to the part of in the Looking Glass where
Yeah.
Alice is, with the queens when they fall asleep.
Hmm.
Stuff like that, just kind of very book stuff because that's all they had to go off of.
Yeah.
They didn't know the movie yet. Oh, another thing about Jabberwocky is they actually, I wrote this down, when they talk about the poem later with the mirror and stuff. They actually call Jabberwocky a language, and I thought that was really interesting. Because it's not a language, but maybe it should be. I would like to speak Jabberwocky.
Are you gonna give somebody ideas and then they can get back to you? What do you want the writing system to look like?
I think it should still play with like reversed writing, like in the Looking Glass book.
But more like decorative or like rune scratches, or what are we going for here?
I think decorative would be nice, but I'm not
Yeah,
sure. Yeah,
more Victorian.
yeah, that's what I would do. I say, having not developed a language, but yeah, do you develop languages or like writing systems?
Me?
Yeah.
Is there money to be made?
Uh, the way you asked that, I was wondering like if you had done that kind of thing before.
Thanks. I feel like all you need for Jabberwocky is to hold whatever you've written up in your fancy script to a mirror, and then that's your Jabberwocky.
Yeah, that sounds good.
So then you take a picture of that and you destroy what you've written so that you have it for That would be a skill if you were very good at writing words backwards without having to think about every little thing.
I just thinking about it. I do know someone who could do that, so maybe maybe I'll ask him. Um,
Mm.
but anyway, so
The only other thing we really didn't talk about was apparently the sets were by Mary Blair because they
oh
specifically
yeah,
thanked her.
they thanked her quite a few times.
Yeah.
Okay,
Really big deal, apparently.
here's another thing. I feel like it was the last one that we watched together that we talked about first tonight, where there were these drawings for Alice in Wonderland that were not the final style, but the art style was adorable. Did Mary Blair do those?
I don't know. I'd have to see it, I think, again.
It's like she had these little round eyes.
Yeah, it was the drawings in Operation Wonderland. Yeah, we didn't
Uh,
mention that, but we did wonder about that particular Alice design. I assume that it was Mary Blair, but I don't know that for sure.
I'd have to look at it again, but like there's a pretty big chance it was probably Mary Blair because she would do minimalized styles.
Hmm.
Because sometimes it was more about the colors of a piece than it was about like the actual character and the character's just there.
Yeah.
She actually experimented quite a lot with like different styles of how she did her characters. And Alice was one of them. She did quite a few different styles for Alice. Not, because it wasn't really about what Alice would actually look like in the film. It was more about how she would look in the environment, I guess to say.
Mm.
So Mary Blair did a great job on the sets for this. I kind of wonder who was responsible for I assume it was her who was responsible for the idea of putting the Cheshire Cat in like a standout with the head missing, so Sterling could be there. Kind of wonder if that was her idea. Seems like her, but I don't know.
That was a good idea.
Yeah, I say like it seems like her, but I don't actually know that much about her to be honest. But she was very, very talented, obviously.
Yeah.
Gorgeous work. I would actually like to see a film like actually animated Mary Blair style. I think would be cool.
Yeah. I think I was talking to Katie about that because we talked about the reveals from D23 and the stuff for Frozen 3. Like it's only one piece of art, but it was like like other people were saying Ivan Earl, but I thought it looked very Mary Blair.
I had to look at it.
Maybe it was like a combination of the two, but I was like, I just wish that it would look like this because you know it's not going to in the final production. But it was just it had her vibe. I just really liked the look of it, and you just know that that's not going to be in the final film.
I think you're right. I'm looking at it. It's a combination of Mary Blair and the Sleeping Beauty dude. I forget his name.
Ivan
You
Earl.
just said it.
Yeah,
Ivan Earl. I think it's a combo. Like it's her colors with his style.
yeah,
But yeah, there's so especially like Golden Age Disney animation. There's such beautiful concept art that I feel like I would love to see the concept art moving
yeah.
like a film.
I feel like that with so many movies.
Yeah, and I feel like Mary Blair would be a great style to see that with because
Yeah.
I think this is one of those things where I don't think Mary Blair's style fully came across with cell animation probably. I feel like she probably would do better with digital animation. So
Mm,
that's something I would like to see. And like not just like because the Disney films that ended up using her work was more about again the colors and the environments and what they would look like rather than like the characters.
hmm.
So I'd like to see it like all full circle with the characters design as well.
Yeah.
So it was probably her.
Yeah, I really I thought at the end the In a World of My Own song, I thought the line they alter it a little bit. Things a child can understand. I don't know, it's a very pretty line. I kind of wonder why they did it that way, if it's because it turned into a choir song instead of a solo song like it's meant to be in the movie. I guess that's the point to talk about line alterations in general with these songs in this promotional material, like the Very Merry Birthday, you get the Merry Very Birthday to us, to all.
Yeah, that's what I was just gonna say. That I wondered if it was the Fred Waring show taking creative liberty, or if these were earlier versions of the songs, or shorter or longer versions of what became short songs for the movie.
Yeah, I don't know about the things a child can understand, but I do know that it appears the A Very Merry and Birthday additional verses, I guess for lack of a better word, it were Disney because these lyrics actually pop up in other versions over time.
I thought that they sounded familiar,
Yeah,
but I knew they were not from the movie.
yeah, but this is where they quote unquote premiered too, was these alternate lyrics.
Hmm.
But like when I became very familiar with the alternate lyrics was one of the DVD releases had like a those old DVD games and it had like a Mad Tea Party with a live action Alice and Mad Hatter and like three kids and they do A Very Merry and Birthday and it includes these alternate lyrics or
Hmm.
additional lyrics and that was like my first time that I've been exposed to them, which is a fun thing to watch if you're ever into that. And I think it's also in a lot of songbooks. I think it's in Alice in Wonderland Junior as well. So it pops up. I'm not sure why they wrote these. Maybe some of them were supposed to be included in the film and they just decided, nah. Yeah, I just really, really nice production. I liked it. I always enjoy watching it again.
And it was sweet. Good to see Sterling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sterling and Catherine. I really liked them together. I'm glad that they were
You mean
chosen
Alice
to
and
do this.
Sterling
Yes.
or Kathy and the cat?
Yeah.
Oh, that's like a good title right there.
It does actually. That could be a children's book.
Mm.
Ooh.
Are you into writing? I could do the illustrations. And we'll make millions of dollars and we won't have to worry about anything ever again.
Oh boy. Um, I do dabble in writing, but I always have a hard time like coming up with an idea and like going through with it to the end with finishing it.
Hmm.
It is storytelling eludes me, but maybe I'll think about it. Like, what would be so special about a cat?
What's not special about a cat?
You're right.
You know,
You're right.
you're talking to a cat fanatic because
I grew up more with dogs, but I do like cats too. One day I might like a void cat. I like black cats. I just like how they disappear into blackness and you just see the eyes. I want that
they're considered good luck in Japan. So if anybody,
as they should
That's
be.
so random. I was just watching a compilation of people who like taken videos of their cats just blending into something black and then they like blink and then suddenly you can see there was a cat there.
Yeah, I want that in my life. I just want to open like a cupboard and the cat's there, it's staring at me with a big eye. It's like, oh, hello.
Lovely.
Lovely.
Well, on that note, I think we've finished
Yeah.
all we have to say about all of these Alice specials.
Pizza and black cats and Coca-Cola.
And we
Hallmark
went on a
movies.
journey. We got some food. We picked up a pet along the way. So yeah, and you finally finished Disney Alice,
For now.
Is there
unless you wanted to
more?
do that DVD game.
Well, I'm still thinking of the Once Upon a Time that we haven't done yet, but
Oh
we
no. I forgot about that. Oh gosh. Okay.
that'll be a huge project for later. I don't have time for that right now.
Yeah, I might have to wait till after Christmas at this point.
I don't think we'll get to that this year. At one point, I thought maybe we would, but that's
Yeah.
a lot. So maybe next year.
Well, maybe we could get started, I suppose. Or maybe not. I don't know. Whatever.
There's too many Alice's.
There's too many.
We've done so
But
many Disney
also,
this year that maybe we should take a break from Disney and talk about some non-Disney Alice.
yeah, when does Disney Alice end?
I don't know. They'll probably do something else and then well, they did do something else because they did that Descendants movie with the Red Queen's
Oh my
daughter or
gosh.
whatever.
Yeah, now I have to watch that, and I'm like, no, I don't want to.
You don't have to.
I have to. I actually have quite a list of Alice things I need to catch up on, and that's one of them. Not looking forward to it.
Anyway.
Are we done yet? Or are we still recording? Sorry.
Well, we'll be back in the future with more Alice. Probably not Disney right away, but
Are you not
until
Was she asking whether we're done with this podcast or done with Disney Alice? Or both?
Apparently not. There's still Once Upon a Time and Descendants. You'll never be free, Jonathan.
Alice is eternal.
Well, Disney Alice is eternal.
That too.
They just won't leave the story alone.
Well, until the next time, do you want to let people know where they can find you if they would like more from you, Jenna?
Oh, yes. I am Phantomwise on YouTube and Love Gift of a Fairy Tale on YouTube as well.
And Sarah?
I am Turnip Wilson on Redbubble, like the vegetable, and like that neighbor on on Home Improvement that you never saw.
Oh, Home Improvement.
Yes, whimsical and realistic watercolor art. All right, thank you.
Okay, well, see you next time.
Thank you for having me. Bye.
Good to talk to you. Bye.
Thanks for listening to Wonderland Wednesday. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to subscribe and follow my co-hosts as well. My link tree and all of our links will be in the description below. If you want more of my content, all my podcasts are available on YouTube as well as most podcast platforms. If you enjoyed this show, check out one of the other podcasts or check out my Patreon for bonus and extended episodes you won't find anywhere else. We'll be back soon with another brand new episode, so thanks for listening and we'll see you next time.